Sudio Vasa Bla. No, not the usual type of gibberish I'm talking, but just the name of the product that I will be reviewing today. Sudio approached me, asked me if I want one for free to review, and whenever I can get my hands on something that has to do with audio, I will make damn sure I will at least give it a good try. But before I'm actually going to talk about the product, I want to get into something else, because I did my research beforehand, and I've seen a few reviews on YouTube, and they kind of disturbed me. Because there was one guy talking like 10 minutes about the fact that he wasn't paid off for this review, that he just got it for free, and he wanted to share his opinion, but 10 minutes later I still didn't see him talking about the product at all. Then I saw a bunch of reviews just listing down the specs and talking what was written down on the page, and I've seen no proper review actually talking about the product, reviewing it. What is the main purpose of this video? And this kind of upset me a little bit, because this made me feel like I'm one of those YouTubers, because they didn't approach high quality YouTubers, and I'm usually someone who thinks that I make detailed, honest and proper reviews. And yeah, that made me a little bit upset, and that is maybe the reason why I didn't make the review any earlier, because I have this for like 6 or 8 weeks already. And I just didn't get fully behind it. Not that it's a bad product, but it's not maybe the best in terms of value, and maybe not something that I would recommend, because it costs 90 euros. There is a coupon code down below that gives you 15 euros off. But before I'm going to actually get into the review and not be one of those who talks 10 minutes about it, I will do it, but let's get into what we actually get. We get this leather pouch that is, in my opinion, a little bit hard and doesn't really fit the headphones properly. Then you get this clip to tie the cable up a little bit. That is pretty much it. You also get 4 pairs of these rubber tips. One that is actually smaller than the usual ones, which is nice to see, because some people have still smaller ears than that. I use the second smallest one, which is nice. We have this dangle-free cable that I think is a little bit too stiff. I would have definitely preferred a rounder one, and I will get into why later. Here we have the battery compartment, and you can see the micro USB port here, because this is the reason why these headphones themselves are actually quite small. We also get the control here with pause and play, and also the volume rocker. A long press gives you the ability to skip the tracks. So that is pretty much it. Now I want to get into the comfort now, which is actually one of my main complaints here, because if I put them on, and this is not a problem, because one thing that I have to give them to that, very, very comfortable in the ears, and they don't really fall out. I would have wished for still an option at least to have wings that would have kept it in my ear properly, but these are ones of the very few headphones that I didn't really notice in my ears, because they fit in, because they are so small, they don't really pull that much on your ears, and they are super comfortable, they are nice in your ears, and that is great. But the problem is, maybe you can see this is the cable here, because it's way too stiff in my opinion, and it looks awkward. This, in my opinion, just doesn't look elegant, especially due to the quite heavy battery compartment and due to the controls, which are a little bit too high, and you can't really reach them all that properly. But the problem for me was when I was using them at work, they pulled, especially on movement on my ears. They didn't pull it out, but it made me feel weird, and I constantly had to re-push them in, even though they set upright, but it didn't feel right, and that is my issue. So of course I get why the battery compartment is there, because to make the earphones themselves smaller, which is nice. But if it would have been a rounder, maybe more subtle and smoother cable that is just a little bit more subtle, I would have preferred them. But like I said, comfort in your ears is great, but the cable is one of my issues, and especially the heavy battery compartment. If I'm actually talking about battery compartment already, let me get into the battery life, and I have to say this one is actually good. I managed it around 6 hours. I have no idea what they claim, but 6 hours is definitely strong enough. But now let's get to the sound, which is after the comfort. Oh yeah, definitely the next most important thing. And I have to say the sound is okay, it's solid, but it's not quite 90 euros solid. It's like maybe 50 euros solid, because the bass is definitely not super punchy or so, but it's definitely boosted. That is noticeable, but it is quite a soft bass, not really precise or punchy, but it gets the job done. It's definitely a nice and warm bass. The mids itself feel a little bit flat, a little bit more on the boring side, but overall the sound is definitely tuned very towards mainstream, because the highs are cut off a little bit too early, because I'm missing the clarity here and I miss all the details. This is my main complaint, because the bass, even though not the most precise and tight one with the a little bit odd mids, actually still sounds on a quite nice level. But especially if I want to listen to something a little bit longer, want the details. So it's definitely not a fatiguing sound at all, and you can listen to them very, very loud, and the sound overall is nice, nothing to really complain about, but it sounds a little bit flat, not that detailed, a little bit more on the boring side. But if you listen to more, like say, like simplistic music, like dubstep and everything, where it's not there's too much instruments, not too many vocals and all that, it will sound definitely quite satisfying, it's quite pleasing. But if you're someone who's suffering into high fidelity, you won't really get it here, which is something that I actually expected, because Sweden is the country that invented my most favorite genre of music, melodic death metal, and that's why I expect them to perform here very well. But that wasn't just the case. They didn't quite grab me. The sound overall is absolutely solid, but not really for someone who's very audiophile, but it gets the job done. But to get to the end, the value, 90 euros is just too much, because they kind of want some premium pricing getting done. But why? Who is Sudio? The brand is very unknown. They kind of expect you to pay almost, okay, maybe like half of Apple pricing, but they are not even close to being Apple. I've never heard of the brand before, and especially someone who's new on the market, doesn't really have a lot of headphones on the market, they should approach this a little bit less premium, because yes, they look premium, they feel premium, and they seem quite nice, but they don't feel to me like 90 euro nice. They feel like if they would have been priced at around 50, I would have been definitely way more behind them, and I would be able to recommend them, because I would say you don't get the best product, but you get a solid one. But if it's 90 euros solid, I'm just not sure about that. And the sound actually I would have been fine with, because I could have just raised the treble a little bit in the equalizer, which still wouldn't give me all the details, but at least give me a little bit of a clearer sound that sounds a little bit not that muffled, which it's not a lot, but still. But the cable, that is just my main complaint. If you can somehow with the clip make it a little bit more subtle, so it just doesn't feel like it's pulling out of your ears all the time, I would have been way more behind them. So as it stands, you can still use the coupon code if you want it. 75 euros isn't maybe all that bad, but like I said, I have a little bit of a mixed feel about it, because even though I got them for free, I'm still not sure if I will ever really use them, because I would have really liked to have used them if they just wouldn't be so uncomfortable over a longer period of time because of the cable. The rest would have been acceptable. Not quite 75 or 90 euro acceptable, but still would have been a nicer product than what it is right now. So if they improve on that, if they make a maybe more rounded cable that is way more flexible and just doesn't feel as stiff, with something a little bit more subtle, because yeah, small compartment and therefore smaller headphones, but there must be a better solution, and that's it. I know Sudio won't like the review, but it is what it is. I wanted to make it honest. I wanted to just express my feelings about them, and they still have quite some way to go if they want to at least convince me. They can maybe convince some other YouTubers, but yeah, I've talked already what I think about those. Okay, this would have been, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'm quite sure I will get a lot of dislikes for talking about other YouTubers, but that is the fact. I'm not gonna hold back. Okay, until next time, bye. Yeah.